Ladies and gentlemen, Psychedelic Science After Hours. It's incredible. It's everything you thought it would be and a little bit more. I got an incredible guest for you here right now. Just take a moment to introduce yourself.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is James Wilson-Bay, and I'm a pharmaceutical scientist. I'm really interested, and I came to Psychedelic Science 2025, because I'm interested in how small molecules can affect behavior, acutely or long term. And my number one is overall human safety. My research interests include music and psychedelics. And I think it's very important because if you change the music, you change the trip.
You know what? It's you and I were having a really interesting conversation just a little bit ago about music, the way it changes everything. That is the beauty of psychedelic science, right? You know what? Maybe we can carry on that conversation. You were telling me how the glue is sort of like the heart of the body.
Sure. Yes, most definitely. I'm no expert, and I'm no, experienced audiologist. But I do want to say though that the auditory processes definitely intertwine with psychedelics or serotonergic psychedelics. I definitely believe that it's imperative that we ethically approach what we listen to, or even what kind of audio stimuli we introduce ourselves while we are in an altered state.
You know, first off, it's awesome to talk to someone who's in science, who loves psychedelics, who loves music. What do you think are some of the biggest issues? Like, when coming here in psychedelics today, what are like you most excited to learn and talk about?
Oh, certainly. I mean, Matt's puts on an amazing conference, and there's so many guest speakers that I am just so overwhelmed. It is an amazing time. I think typically the neuroscience group is most fascinating, and harm reduction initiatives.
What about the interplay between like science and spirituality? That kind of seems to be a hot topic right now. Sometimes it's odd, but maybe it doesn't need it. What is your topic on that?
Yeah, about psychedelics and spirituality.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. I definitely, it's interesting because you can't talk about psychedelics or atypical psychedelics without talking about the soul or,
Yeah.
the spirit or religion or, whatever you subscribe to. You're exactly right.
What about science and spirituality? You see those coming together?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think if we look at, a lot of physicists, they were actually Christian. And, Isaac Newton. And I'm just curious because it's like, sure, maybe there's a reputation of, having psychedelics and having your mind opened up to another realm or dimension. It kind of shatters reality. And so I believe that it maybe invokes an individual to seek their higher power.
Without a doubt. No, you were telling me quite a bit about the actual music is something that is profound in someone's journey. It can actually, it might even be the conduit for the type of trip that you have.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about like playlists and music and what people might want to achieve. What kind of music might do what?
Oh, certainly, yes. So this is so I've had the honor and privilege of working with PIs and clinical trials, and me and the team, it was an amazing collaboration. And I will say that it is pivotal. Um, One thing is some people love it and some people are going to hate it. And the rationale behind that is it's so intimate, it's so personal. And what one song might be called bliss and joy, the other might be filled with terror. And so we need to approach auditory stimuli very cautiously when, like I said, when we're in a sick consciousness.
You know, music by itself can be psychedelic. Just listening to music, right? Like it puts us in the alternate states of awareness. Do you have a favorite story about a favorite song or certain types of music in psychedelics?
Oh, I mean, certainly. I mean, I am a deadhead. I love Fish. I huge psychedelic rock. It's interesting. I did a research paper on tying different genres to different psychoactive substances. So, for instance, jazz is heavily rooted in opioids like heroin or crack cocaine. Or that's crack cocaine. But I would say though, or even reggae with cannabis. And so there are different psychoactives that, pair with different types of genres. And I noticed that today, many pathogens like MDMA or MDA is commonly used in rave settings. And what's interesting is if you look at the average BPM let's say an EDM, high beat song, it's typically about 120 beats per minute, which matches, I believe, the fetal heart rate. So then I'll be going back to a childlike state.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. What do you think about, as someone with a science background, I'm fascinated by neuroplasticity. Sure. And like all of the things that happen, whether it's through trauma or addiction, and music has a little bit of neuroplasticity. Sure. When I say neuroplasticity, what do you took for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with neuroplasticity is it oftentimes is a very hot topic. I will say this. Right now, you and I,
Yeah.
I think right now, you and I, this is a very neuroplastic experience. And so it doesn't have to necessarily be a psychoactive experience. I will say, in regards to, oh gosh, um, when you're geared towards a particular direction, right?
Right.
What is the feel? But going back to the genre, what playlist to pick? It's a matter of trial and error, unfortunately.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So circling back though to your neuroplasticity question, um, there is good neuroplasticity, there's bad neuroplasticity, and then there's neutral neuroplasticity. And one of my research interests is to investigate maybe looking at traumatic experiences while you're tripping and seeing what kind of potential negative neuroplastic events may occur. I spoke with Will Dolan about her critical period and then asked her, what do you think? And she said, they will know their trauma for sure, which is why I'm a very big opponent of knowing setting, having a very strong therapeutic alliance with a guide, shaman, practitioner, and knowing that you're safe.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a beautiful point. Sometimes I see like the commodification of psychedelics on some level seems to be incongruent with what maybe a different. It seems to be sometimes at odds with things that are sacred. Like the commodification of it seems to take away from things that are sacred. Do you think that we can move forward in this particular renaissance, this particular episode, and merge those things together? Or
See, and that's the thing though. Let me ask you, so I'm going to throw the question right back at you. I've had a lot of interesting discussions because I'm biracial. And, my father is from Tokyo, Japan, and my mother is a beautiful woman from California. And so I have the East and West. And, it was a mind-blowing experience when I learned in world history, social studies about World War II, right? Because my families were fighting against each other. It was very interesting to kind of integrate that. But what I will say though is, when it comes to like different cultures or listening and pumping for music, especially with like authenticity, right? The moment you take it out of the shaman, it's Ikoros, right? It's the medicine thing. The shaman is delivering that. And so we need to pay respect and homage to their sacred practices. And the moment we try to integrate that into a Western medical model, it's impossible. It turns into it's like calling Panda Express Chinese food or Taco Bell Mexican food. It's an American twist to it.
yeah,
And this is my thing. Is so long as the location is really developed in the right headspace and really authentic and wanting to heal people and doing it the right way, you got my thumbs up of the program.
it's a brilliant answer. It's so interesting. And you bring up something too. That two things can be true at once.
Sure.
A lot of times we get caught up in our own history or our own ideas or our own stories about this is how it is, this is how it has to be. Yeah. But I think psychedelics on some level allow you to hold both those things in your mind.
Both things are true.
Maybe we need like a new vehicle. Maybe this is what the psychedelic renaissance is kind of doing is providing a new vehicle to bring these medicines into a Western world. What are your thoughts on that?
I couldn't agree more. Well, one of the biggest things that I think about to this question is the topic of. I hope people don't get mad at me at this. Diversity versus preservation of culture, right?
Okay. Make that down.
How can me, right? So, it's difficult. It's like having a home in America. I'm an American citizen. But when I go to Japan, they view me as an American. But typically, when I'm in America, I get oftentimes, hey, what type of Asian are you? I'm half Japanese. And so I find it fascinating, finding this dualistic East-West combination. And so going back, it's like, okay, we want preservation of culture. I mean, Japan as a country was landlocked for many years. It was a very homogenous society. And so I think, I'm all for diversity, all for different thoughts, different things.
Right.
But then I can also, on one component, appreciate some culture's authentic thing,
Right.
their tradition, and it's very tough.
It
Because
is.
then you go full circle about the religious spiritual component,
Yep.
which is heavily embedded into that. Oh, sorry. This is a fun conversation. Yeah.
Where I get caught up on diversity is like, what's the difference between diversity and inequality? You know what I mean by that? Like, if I have 10 cups and each one has a different set of water in it, is that a diverse group or is that a group that's equal? You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
go ahead, yes.
Oh, we're in some interesting times in 2025.
We are.
And, I'm always thinking about the future. And I try to imagine, okay, the year's 3025.
That's such a great thing.
And could we go to the Walgreens and pick up a couple taps of acid? Can we live in this kind of personal, responsible world?
Right.
And if you want to roll out with, I think maps try to entertain the driver's license, psychedelic driver's license.
Right.
But then you kind of run full circle of who has the authority to write what's on the test.
Right.
Oh, it's brilliant.
It is.
But yeah, no, it's a wonderful, amazing field.
It is. One word I really love is the word initiation. It carries so much brilliance, like so much suffering, and it reminds me of the old myths where you have to go through this ordeal in order to thoroughly understand.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like we're losing that in translation. When I say initiation, what do you think?
Initiation. Well, I'm a gamer. I love video games. And I think of initiation, I mean, say, let's go.
Right?
It's this sense, this drive. It's a really intense word. Initiation.
Yes.
We're initiating a thing.
Yes.
Whatever that thing is. And so it's very powerful. Yeah. And in terms of psychedelics, what do you think?
First off, I love it. I think it's a great answer. And for me, I think when I think of initiation, I think of the ordeal. I think of someone having to suffer in order to understand the truth. Someone having to go through something that they would never choose to go through on their own. And a lot of the times that comes to rite of passage or just ceremony or something like that. But I think we've lost our way. I think a lot of people suffer from no initiation.
Oh, so
Yeah, it's an interesting concept to think about. Can you tell us a story about an initiation, maybe with music, maybe psychedelic?
Oh, sure, most definitely, yeah. So during 2020, I told myself, like many Americans, and worldwide actually, whoever is still quarantined, when we were in our homes or apartments, I played a lot of music. Music really helped me through those times,
Right?
and I needed a mission, to really take it upon myself. Because one of my biggest joys is to give to others. And what better way to do that than music? I played jazz band at the University of Arizona as a baritone sax player. But I was working at a bar called Dirtbag, checking IDs Friday night. Oh, so, undergrad, got to get some pay. But yeah, no, I got sucker punched in the face. It's custom TMJ. So I put down my sax due to medical reasons, which is why I picked up the piano.
The piano's a phenomenal thing. Would you mind showing some people how you get it?
Certainly, yeah, no, I don't. So, alrighty, everybody. So, this is my, typically in music, right? We have the major, beautiful, right? Happy. If we flatten the third, going from that E to the E flat, it becomes a little sad, maybe dour, lost in your thoughts. Now if we flatten the fifth, excuse me, it becomes Dracula. And so I urge everybody to go on your Spotify or Apple Music, whatever you listen to, and investigate the keys in which your favorite song is. Because I am under the belief system that every single human being has a favorite note, a favorite pitch because of vibrations. I'll start with middle C, and I'll go up chromatically. And then we get to the resolve to the C. And so oftentimes in jazz, right? They love to integrate notes that sound spicy. My two favorite genres of music is heavy metal and jazz because I love controlled chaos.
Can you show us some heavy metal? Can you show us some heavy metal?
Oh goodness, I came so unprepared. I am a novice when it comes to heavy metal in terms of
Genius.
but I love listening to it. I can appreciate the guttural intensity, and there's a drive and energy, and just oh boy. But yeah, a lot of metal music though, and home dimensions. So yeah, and so you play around. But yes, that's kind of. I urge everybody to go and pick up a new instrument, start playing, and yes, give the world more music.
I love it. You know what? Like, let's say someone's listening right now and they want to reach out to you. Do you have like a handle or something like they can try to find you or talk to you?
Yeah, most definitely. I am on Instagram, and yeah, I would recommend shooting me a DM. I'm always curious to hear subjective experiences, and if you have ever had an altered state of consciousness experience and listened to music, and music was a really profound experience, or it changed the experience, let's please have a conversation. I'd love to.
What? You didn't give the name of your handle though.
Oh, my apologies. It's at HOSOBE.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us today.
Thank
That's
you.
all we got. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, minor. Woo! I've been on a podcast with Ben. For the metal. Yeah. Is this your artwork? Would you like to sit down? Are you? You want to talk to him about your art? I did. I got a podcast. Yeah. Maybe sometime when you're free, I would love to have you come on and talk about the way that you see the world, why you think, why you argue. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much. Really looking forward to it. My name's George. Yeah. It's a pleasure to meet you. Can I show you my home? Yeah. So, I fully believe like the future is like changing life. On this psychedelic art challenge. I just come up with like a new word, something new, to try to back it up, and frame and picture behind it. Yeah, and just want to do word. Yeah. Education, cynicism, only allows us I live here. Yeah. I wish. What do you have availability? Fantastic. I even know maybe sometime maybe like person is great. Yeah, either. Pleasure. Oh my god, you too. Like yeah. That's great. You guys are